welcome to another recap. Maybe I'll edit this as I'm editing this. I just added like crazy sound effects. I'm not doing that. I'm not professional enough for that. Okay, yeah. Anyway, stop wasting time. Trade recap. 3 trades, Tuesday the 29th. In my humble opinion, 3 valid trades, I would say. Starting off with Euro JPY. As discussed in London, Euro JPY, within the 4 hour, we had our break of structure on the 15-minute. We came back into this 4 hour zone beyond the equilibrium. Now it's a good place to look for buys, right? To look for the M15-minute bullish swing to continue. To aid that, we've come into the 4 hour, we've swept the liquidity right below this Asian session low right here. We swept liquidity, and then we pushed higher during London. We pushed higher. How was this 10? Did I? Okay. Take a little tiny hiatus. A little tiny hiatus from just what I'm looking at. I just need to. Okay, yeah. I don't know about this one. Not valid. Valid but not valid in a way. Okay, so London. Coming to London, we have bullish momentum up. We pull back, and then we have another break. So the way I'm looking at it, this is the internal of the internal structure, because the internal is still bearish, right? The bigger internal, but within the internal, this is still structure, right? Where, say for example, you would look at it from there, go down, right? And then we had a break of this, whatever this internal structure is. It comes back in, it breaks again, which means the structure would be this, and your expectation would be for this now new structure to continue up. That is my expectation, right? I shouldn't have thrown so many things. Oh, okay, that's much easier. Right, my expectation at this point is for it to come in here to continue higher, right? And then simple as that, we have a POI in here. We go to the lower time frame, look for the entry model. Right, we look for the entry model in here. The entry model forms right there. We take the trade, and it's a loss. Right, simple as that. I think it was a valid trade. There's nothing I could say was particularly wrong that I've done in here, so I'm happy with that. Obviously the strike rate is not 100%, so we will take losses, but yeah, this trade I'm happy with. And then moving on to the next one, which is GBP USD. Okay, moving on to GBP USD. Okay, GBP USD, as discussed on the start of the New York session, right? We wanted to see, this is on the M5. Let's break it down from the M15. Simple trade. We had a break of structure on the M15. We're expecting a pullback. We have an internal break of structure right here. We would expect for it to come into the strong internal high, right? Expectation is coming to the strong internal high and then push lower. Simple as that. And then our expectations for this one, for the entry model, was for it to sweep this tiny internal low, which would make this a strong, brush, right? Because this is a push up, this is a tiny push down, push up, and then a sweep of that, which makes this a strong liquidation, and then expectation was for this to continue. The expectation was for that to continue. Unfortunately, we did take another loss here where price did start pushing down, but it pushed a bit higher into this M50 minute POI and then pushed lower, but it still wouldn't have hit the take profit either way. You probably would have taken an L or a break even depending on the management of the trade. But again, this is another simple trade. It's giving you everything you need to see, which is the first push up, tiny push in, right? This creates a high, sweep of that high, strong liquidation. You want to see the push down. This is the entry model. So we did get that in here, but unfortunately it did just sweep us out and then start trickling it down. Came back up, probably would have swept again if ever. This one didn't, probably would have still been a loss or break even if the management was aggressive, right? But at this point, maybe it looks like it will push down during like the Asian session. But whatever, it doesn't really matter now. But I am happy with the overall setup. It was perfect. 9 times out of 10, it's what you should be taking with no fear, no favor. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Moving on to the final one of today, which is the first winner since the start of the channel, which is kind of crazy, right? Kind of crazy. We are on a losing streak. Oh well, this does break the losing streak right now, but anyway, we will get into that on the weekend. I will make like a video of like the conclusion of the entire month, like what needs to change, what I can do better, stuff like that, right? That will be the weekend. For now, USD CAD, we spoke about this one again at the start of New York. Textbook trade, really nothing too crazy, except for market structure on this one is a little bit iffy. It does take a lot of discretion to trade this one, because the swing, right, the swing structure of the M15 is bearish, right? You have the swing structure bearish. You've had the pullback into this 4-hour, which means the market could now start pricing in the next swing as the pullback may be finished, right? But the internal structure, which is this one that I've been following here, the internal has been bullish, right? The internal break there. So expectation would be after you come into the lower portion of this internal structure here, it should move bullish, and that is exactly what we got. If we look at the internal of the internal, which I don't like to do really, because it's really complicated and it does need more skill than just the internal of this one. Take that, which should be easier. But in this, just because of how it formed, I was happy to take this. Let me explain. Just looking at the internal of the internal, right? We had the sell right there. We have bearish momentum. It moves up. It breaks out till there. It moves up. It breaks out. It moves up. It breaks out. and then look at this, you have a bullish shift right there. So when you have this bullish shift following this internal structure, your expectation would be for this area to hold, and then you move up like that. So just in terms of expectations, like of market structure expectations, the expectations are solid, more especially when you did come back into here. You came back into this POI. If this could work. Oh, I switched off my face, that's why. Anyway, the expectations, you come back into this M15-minute zone right here. It tags in, and then it has a change of character right here. It tags in, it gets a change of character right here, which is the signal that the M15 is shifting, right? It shifted bullish here, but it comes back in, and then this is another shift, confirmation shift of it shifting bullish. So, and then we have this internal structure here, or this internal POI, the inside bar. Simple trade, really not complicated. And then you just move to the 5-minute. You look for the entry model on the 5-minute. You take that, boom, simple and easy trade. From 3 o'clock to 20 to 5, like in for an hour, not an hour, yeah, an hour, 40 minutes, in and out, quick intraday trade, nothing complicated, simple as that. These are the kinds of trades you just want to be following consistently. Unlike last week, we did have good examples of these, but unfortunately I was not on the charts to catch them. But this is good, right? Getting a winner is good. It's a confidence booster. And yeah, we just take it from there, really. So yeah, that's it. I will do the end of day. Should I just make this one long video and that's it? Right? No. I'll split them. I'll split them as I've been. Trade recaps, and then I'll do the end of the after that. So yeah, that's the end of these 3 trade recaps. Everything was recorded in Notion. If I can find it as per usual, cancel. Yeah, here they are, Tuesday 29th. Everything is recorded in here, simple as that. Then yeah, let's move on to the end of day.